Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Nigerians are still in the mood of celebration following the country's attainment of 15 years of independence. While Nigeria's youthful population may be busy focusing on how to realize their undoubted enormous potential in an ever-changing world, this milestone will most likely provoke a feeling of nostalgia in the older generation, many of whom witnessed the exit of the British colonial authorities and the emergence of a Nigerian political elite. We'll be dwelling on this for a while by speaking with Chief Ayo Adebanjo, who has now joined us. Chief Ayo Adebanjo is a leader of Afenifere, a social-cultural organization that continues to push for the rights of the Yoruba people in Nigeria, and of course, the rights of other Nigerians to self-determination. At several points in the recent history of Nigeria, Chief Adebanjo has contributed to efforts at keeping the military away from politics while speaking out for the enthronement of democratic ideals. Chief Adebanjo, welcome to the morning show, sir.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you for accepting our invitation.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Yesterday was Nigeria at 59. I'm sure you listened to President Buhari.
I didn't.
Why not?
What will he say?
No, he had a long speech in which 53 paragraphs in which...
Did he talk, I read the data. Did he talk about the present need of Nigeria? Southwest, Southeast, Middle Belt, stressing for restructuring of the country. And during the last election, you could see that he was rejected in those areas.
But first, I wanted
and yet,
to ask
he
you...
didn't mention it in his speech.
Well,
so he's not concerned about the unity of the country.
No, we'll come to it. But first, I wanted to ask you, how did you feel as someone who has seen it all, pre-independence, independence, post-independence, Nigeria at 59? What was your immediate reaction when you woke up on October 1, 2019?
Dejected, disappointed. We are not where we should be, particularly those of us who fought for independence. For those of us who demonstrated both in Nigeria and in London asking for independence. For those of us who saw Nigeria during the self-government period from 1954 to 1960, from 1960 to 1963. We saw what led to the crisis in 1953 after the motion of Anthony Nauru, and there was a break. The colonialists who gathered us together by force now gathered us again in London. Come and tell us what is your problem. And the warning Chief Awolowo had given earlier that you cannot rule this country under a unitary form of government. Los Shanus said, what is the problem? Even Dr. Azikiwe, who was the foremost unitarist, under the impression that a united country can only be under a unitary form of government, it was there Chief Awolowo converted him to be a federalist. And then we had the 1954 Constitution, which made the regions autonomous. That is the establishment of the federal system. Before then, under the Macpherson Constitution, it was semi-pseudo. It was under that Constitution we created, and each region was autonomous. Each region, the Constitution was written separately. There was pure, complete autonomy, to the extent that each region had a foreign embassy in London. The Western region had the Western Nigeria office in 15 acres in Palace Garden. That was why I got married in 1960. That shows the type of independence. The revenue allocation was based on derivation, fought for by Chief Awolowo. That is what you call resource control now. It was in that time that all these things were settled. All the things that Chief Awolowo did during the period of 52 to 59, he had no, as establishing free education, free medical services, he had no cause to go to Balewa for a penny because the derivation, the system of getting revenue were clear. But what happened? Immediately after independence, after 1963, became Republican. Even after that time, derivation was still on. When oil had been delivered, had been discovered. So I'm saying all this to show you what are the problems now And how are we addressing it, or if we are addressing it at all? And why I say anybody telling you about development in Nigeria now, not going back to the original constitution of federalism, you are wasting your time. No, if you bring in 20 economics without going to the root, the foundation, you are building on nothing. So, because after the military now, the problem of our country is both colonial and military. The military now changed that peaceful constitution. It was so that constitution now built Liberty Stadium. Ahmadu Bello Stadium. Azikwe did a lot of things in the East. It was under that constitution, the revenue was divided in such a way that the revenue from cocoa went to west, from groundnuts went to the north, from palm kernel went to the east. That was peaceful thing. Until the army came in 1966 to disrupt the whole thing. They are now talking of corruption now. It was the army under Babangida in particular, that institutionalized corruption. And it's still on now.
Yes, sir. We see the fact that, as you've said, the only period of good governance Nigeria enjoyed was between 1960 and 1963, and that is because of the Constitution. That's the basis of governance. Why is it that even though this is manifestly obvious, we have not been able to go back to the drawing board? What happened after, like, 2014? You had the National Conference.
As Mr. Badi said, you have not forgotten that after the military came in, the military ruled this country for how many years? Almost 60% of the period of independence. And when they said they are going back in 1998, Nadeko and Afenifere in particular said, going back, my dear, send us back to where you met us. That was the beginning of the agitation of sovereign national conference. That was what we were on. We are going to send us back to independence, to free civilian rule. We want to sit down again and renegotiate our unity. Why? Because the military was ruling under unity. And we don't want violence. We don't want force. All right? Let's sit down again and see whether we still want to go live together. If we want to live together, under what condition? That agitation was on. Then Absalom came and said, no. I'm in a hurry, I want to go. He's still around. But the Deco then and Afenifere insisted, let us have this national conference for a constitution and base the election on the new constitution, not on this imposed constitution by Absalom. That is why Buhari would never like to change this constitution, because it was pro-North, anti-South. All the problems we are having now in this country is under this constitution. It is this constitution that made Buhari the most powerful president in the whole world. He more or less a dictator. Of course, you could see a man who says the rule of law is subject to national interest. The moment you say that is dictatorship. Maximum dictatorship.
Yes, sir, there was something you said earlier. You mentioned the influence of the colonial
yes,
and you later talked about the military.
Yes.
Yesterday we had Ayo Adebanjo on this program. And he himself, in fact, in his own case, he put all the blame on the British colonialists. He said that the British colonialists structured Nigeria to fail, and that their collaborators are those he calls veto holders from the north.
Not from the north.
And that since pre-independence era, Nigeria has been at the mercy of the British colonial machinations and northern hegemony. Do you agree with him?
Entirely. You see, there is no time on such a program like this to expatiate. And when I said military, the colonialists, it was the colonialists that made the population of the north to be that much to be able to control us in legislature. Aerospeed, now I think it was Aerospeed, who now gave all the secret that they deliberately made the population of the north to be more than the south. You know the geography. This is the only country in the history of geography that the nearer the desert, the more the population. We are the only one that is anti-geography. The geography I learn, and I do you learn, the nearer the desert, the fewer the population. In Nigeria, the nearer the desert, the more the population. You can see it even in the last election. In that Borno area, you travel to the north. Where are the population? Except you are going to count all the cows, except you are going to count the cows and the cattle there. When we are talking about this unity, many people don't understand the passion people are concerned. Buhari can't get my passion. I've been fighting for this unity, but I don't think I've entered the military. In 1979, I spent a whole year in the north, where you have it now, to fight for the Unity Party of Nigeria, and we had a candidate there to show you that we want Nigeria to be together. But see the way he doesn't even talk about it. And even he himself, many people will be surprised. Ayo Adebanjo, with Afenifere, we campaigned for Buhari in 2007 when he said he was going to do restructuring, when he said he was believing in federalism. I have said it several times. Neither Garba Shehu or the converted nation or who will defend anything in the government, they have never denied it. I sent them to the historical background. If you don't like Buhari, if you don't like Nigeria, why should you campaign for him? The same thing he promised Bakari when he was running for restructuring. Even here now, under this constitution, I won't say he deceived Tinubu. Tinubu deceived himself because we all knew Tinubu, we all knew Buhari before. Because I campaign for the Tinubu campaign.
But sir, is it a question of the fact that you don't like Buhari personally?
No, that's what I'm saying.
Because you said that you don't even recognize him as president. And the man has won at the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal, and from the evidence from the Presidential Election Tribunal, some lawyers, or those who know, they say he will still win at the Supreme Court. Do you now recognize him?
No.
Or is something personal?
No, until the Supreme Court says so. And I tell you why.
Anyway, sir, we'll take a short break. We'll take a short break. When we come back, and then you can, continue with that line of thought. We'll take a short commercial break. Stay tuned. Stay with us. It's Chief Ayo Adebanjo. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the morning show here on the Arise News channel. Still with us in our Lagos studio is Chief Ayo Adebanjo, leader of Afenifere, the Pan-Yoruba Socio-Cultural Organization. Chief, before we went on break, I was saying you continue to insist that President Buhari is not your president. But he won during the general election. He won at the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal. It looks like the apex court will still grant him victory. Nigerians themselves seem to have moved on. Okay. And the president yesterday was talking about unity. He was talking about cooperation. And his party has also talked about restructuring, this same restructuring that you talk about. And the Constitution, the 1999 Constitution, which you say makes him a monarch, was the same Constitution under Obasanjo, under Yar'Adua, under President Jonathan. Why is your attitude to him so different?
It's not different at all. It's the incumbent government now. If you ask me, I have always said it, Obasanjo was the first military governor that had the chance of changing this constitution, did it? But can I go back to Obasanjo now? It is the man in office, particularly the man who promised that change before he got into office. When you ask him, I don't recognize this and the reason because I don't trust him again. And I told you earlier on that I campaigned for him. If I didn't like him, would I campaign for him? And I told you why I campaigned for him. I can tell you why, as the running bird of Bakari, we all supported him. And let me right now, restructuring to federalism was the first in the manifesto of APC. What have they been doing about it? They have been prevaricating. Because when I now say I wouldn't recognize, because he has a hidden agenda. I am convinced that Buhari is not interested in the unity of the country. Now, he said, I'm happy you said talk about structuring this program. Has he not talked about it before? Is it not in the manifesto of APC when Jonathan handed over to him the recommendation of 2014, people say, well, we're going back to the structure. Say, well, I put in the archives. Is that the language of somebody want to do anything? Even the agitation that have been going on ever since I've been in government, when has he made a point to date that this is my program? When the pressure was on, and he and his deputy and all the APC people living in denial say, what do you mean by structuring? People reminded them that. So you don't know what is structuring? Why do you put it in your manifesto? That's to show you the type of government we're having. Deny the thing, then they set up the committee on restructuring. What is the outcome? Whenever there's a shout and pressure for it, they tell you to choose it to APC cannot come back cannot tell you in the West, Southwest, that they are supporting a government that does not support federalism. So that at the time, it is any time of election or controversy, you always see them talking about structuring. But what have they done about it? It's in your manifesto. The first time, no step. Second time, no. It's all promising, promising, promising. And doing everything anti-federalism. How can the man talk about the unity of this country? When IPOS said they want to get out of Nigeria, instead of calling them, you are the president, you are the father of all, that's what we assume you are. Why doesn't he call them, what's your problem? Why do you want to leave this country? When Savdana said he was going to leave Nigeria after this motion for self-government and facility, because they believe then that the North is not progressive enough, not advanced enough to get independence. And because Azikwe was talking about unity form of government at that time, this people say, we can't cope with these people, we are going. Because our Lord told, no. You can sit together under a federal system of government. And when they were doing the constitution, they said, look, this constitution we're doing, I'm not going to the center. I'm staying in the region. Because that is where the power lies. That is where you develop your local government, your police, your agriculture, all your development, you are autonomous. And you agree on what type of function you give to the central government. So no problem. That is why Savdana stayed in the north, our Lord stayed in the west, and Savdana only said, but they were there. And we are having a competitive to do that. That's why I mentioned that period.
Those were the halcyon days, sir. But do you see us ever returning? Since, as you've said, there's a lack of political will. We squandered a chance to go back to federalism in 1999. Consecutive administrations continue to squander the chance. What is it going to take for us to actually implement?
It is because we have not got the right government who keep to promises. If, for instance, with all these defects, if even this APC government kept to promise and say, well, we are going to do structuring, what is the problem? And when he was coming in, Jonathan gave me the document 2014. It was the last thing handed over to him. Go after this. He said he put it in the archives. The problem was we didn't make it, okay? Is there anything wrong there that you want to put that was not put? Why don't you put it and let us move on? Is there anything there that's wrong? Why don't you mention it? We take it out, we move on, if there's sincerity. But I believe there is no sincerity in Buhari and the APC. Buhari in particular. Well, the APC are collaborators. And it is this constitution that make all these governors who don't even agree with him to be submissive. The way the constitution is being run, the state government are subordinate to him instead of being coordinated. Well, all the power to harass them is there.
Whatever happens in 2023, now that President Buhari has assured us that he has no third-term hidden agenda, there was a statement from Garuba Shehu to that effect.
And you trust that?
Sir?
You believe that?
Well, it was in the papers.
I don't believe it, and I tell you why. How many times has he been talking about restructuring? How many times has he been promising restructuring? Don't let us live in denial. And that's why I accuse some of you journalists too, because you know certain things, you are emphasizing certain things. Why don't you ask him, the one you promised in 2007, when you are even agitating to be in power? When you got to power now, you deny, so you don't know anything about it.
But sir, I wanted to ask you, do you see the possibility?
Don't let us go. Because when people talk, I have no reason to hate Buhari. No reason at all. All I'm interested in is anybody that will keep us together. You talk of unity, that's where you must mention where the sincerity lies. If you are keen about unity, would there be a unit of the country you be deprived presidency? Does that mean for unity?
If I was going to ask, do you see the possibility of the presidency returning to the Southwest in 2023? Now that we have some agitation in the Southwest and names from the Southwest, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, the Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, being mentioned as likely candidates for the presidency in 2023.
My dear, I'm talking about people who want Nigeria to stay together. All those are political gimmicks. How can anybody who loves this country talk of the presidency coming to the Southwest in 2023? That's why I tell you all these people, they are not serious, including Buhari. Why should you exclude the Southeast? The South is not part of Nigeria. If you are sincere, the Southwest has had, the South has had, the North has had. Why excluding the South if you want them to be there? That is the point I was making earlier on. Why is IPOD making this trouble? There's no need for it. Why do you want to get everything? No, it is good we stay together. I wonder who are those who, many of us say, the question of bringing God together is not our choice. It was the colonial people. But we have enjoyed the economy of scale of coming together. But we also know we also realize there is a safeguard for all the conflicts. That is what federalism provides. And that is what we had at independence. And let me develop the question of 2040, because there are so many things to come together. If that was so, why does he institute okay, you IPOD people, what's your problem? He said, what did he do? He sent military there and mowed them down. And Macy Allah, without any legal permission, carrying out arms, doing arms, brigandage and everything, he turned blind eye. That is the man who wants to keep the country together. As against that, those who have authority to carry arms, come and drop your arms. Those who are carrying arms illegally, nothing about it. My dad, this is the standard by which I joined Buhari. The Fulani arms men who have been doing damage in the country for the years under his leadership.
Well, sir, we'll take another short break. We'll take another short commercial break. And then when we return the conversation, we will continue. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. We're still with Chief Ayo Adebanjo, leader of Afenifere. So
I'm not the leader. I'm a leader in Afenifere.
A leader.
A leader.
I beg your pardon, sir.
Is the leader.
A leader.
I'm a leader there. I'm not the leader.
I beg your pardon, sir. So I'll pick up where Dr. Abati left off on 2023 permutations and the names being bandied about, which include the Vice President, Professor Osinbajo. But why is it that you have waded into this seeming row within the presidency, the Southern and Middle Belt Leaders Forum, including yourself?
We're not wading into the row, we're wading into the Constitution that keeps us peace.
Okay, so you've demanded...
When you use that word again, it's not right. It's a misconception.
Can I finish my question,
that is what the government puts out. Anybody talking about structure, you want to separate the country.
Can I finish my question, sir? You have demanded an explanation, the Southern and Middle Belt Leaders Forum, for the whittling down of the Vice President's functions, failing which you would like his powers to be, reinstituted. Why have you made this demand? And is anybody in a position to make this demand?
It is not a demand. We are making a demand for restructuring. You see, it is under that restructuring that all these things will be solved. That is the ignorance that not ignorance, that deliberate denial that the federal government, they know it. It is under this constitution, as I said, that made Buhari the most powerful president in the whole world. Make him a dictator. The moment you restructure the country, all that power will go. Even these governors, some of them who appear to be submissive to him, they are afraid because of the power he has. And many of them, their hands are not clean. The power of the fear of the EFCC is the beginning of all wisdom there. If any governor is clean and within his own constitution, why should he not tell the president that no, this one wouldn't go? They have been submissive because they are not autonomous. Because the constitution, they have to go to Abuja for the monthly due. Under the constitution we are asking for, we are agreed on how to distribute our revenue. You see, the question of the constitution that I emphasize, it is because I know the implications of corruption, this, that, and that, all resolved there. It is because of the excess money in the federation that leads to corruption. Under restructuring, all this will be whittled down. Take the question of police. We are talking of state police. They tell you, no, you use state police, they will use it against themselves. Whom are they deceiving? Is the federal government not using police against the state that don't belong to their party? Everything is wrong. The state assembly will deal with that governor. That does not deprive them of their constitutional right. You say you are a federation. America is a federation. I asked Kumasi when we were at the conference, have you heard of Inspector General of Police in America? If you are a lawyer in Houston, if you don't pass the law or the regulation in New York or that, you can't practice there. Is America not still a country? Does that make them different?
Chief, I would like to take you back to this issue of 2023.
Yes.
I mean, I'm surprised that as an Afenifere leader, you are not pushing for the return of power to the Southwest in 2023. Do you believe that an Igbo presidency is possible in 2023?
You see, you people, Afenifere, we are, what can I call it? We are not a sectional party or a sectional leader. Our being insistent on the Igbos having is on the principle that we desire a unity of everybody agreeing on the constitution. How can you be fair and say you want peace in this country? All the federated units will participate, will have a right to be the president. One unit will not, and you don't get revolution. You won't get revival, and say you want peace. That's not sincere. And let me tell you, neither Buhari nor the Southwest, they are deceiving themselves. Buhari is deceiving Tinubu. Tinubu is deceiving Buhari. Tinubu believes that he can clearly use Buhari to get to where he is. The North will not give up presidency willingly. Because it is under the presidency that they are cheating the rest of the country. And the only thing that can remove that partisanship is the Constitution. Look at the Constitution now, the man who's here. Look at the security architecture of the country. Practically, I remember from Katsina or the North. We have said that during the first regime, he said it was a mistake, it's still there now. And even not talking about it. He does all this with impunity. We can be talking about it. Why can't we be sensible in this country, including all the so-called intellectuals from the university, the government, all because they want the crumbs from the table?
But can I ask you, sir, as divided as we are now, which really in recent memory we have never been this divided, do you feel that the Southwest is still occupying that position of political decider? And do you feel that the Southwest will throw their support behind an Igbo candidate?
It is not the question, you see. My position is giving presidency to the Southeast is not a favor. It should be their constitutional right if we are sincere about having a federation.
I agree with you, sir.
That's what I'm saying.
I agree with you,
Yes.
sir. But I'm saying our social political reality today is that we're so divided and we think along the lines of tribe. Are we there as a Southwest? I mean, you're a Afenifere.
Yes.
Yes. What do you think of the Southwest? Do you think the Southwest can forego those tribal concerns and actually support
what
the
you are
Southeast
talking
candidate?
of tribal concern is the tribalism that is in the country now as exhibited by Buhari and the previous government under this constitution that's giving rise to that. Under a federal constitution we are talking of, all these things that is causing conflict is settled. Everybody has his own right.
Yes,
There was no problem during the period of Shawlo before independence. Nobody knows about conflict. Everybody knows his right.
Yes, sir. Afenifere appears to be divided.
Is what?
Appears to be divided. Who tells you that? Who is Afenifere and who is not Afenifere? Because I asked this question when we hosted Femi Adesina on this program. We asked him a question about some people, Afenifere group, that had gone to congratulate President Buhari. And I think we used the title Afenifere Renewal Group. He said, no, it's not any renewal group, it is Afenifere.
What does
So who exactly is Afenifere and who is not Afenifere?
Know about Afenifere? It's a pity Adesina is talking like that. It's not the Adesina I know when he was in the sun. It was you who said there's something in that has to rock. The moment they get there, they change. There's something there.
So you claim that I changed too when I got there?
No. Well, that's another matter. I'm only alluding to it to show the type of respect I had for Adesina. The moment he gets there, even right now, when he talks now, I just begin to say, could this be the Adesina that I know? Intelligent, forthright, pungent as a journalist. It is not. What does he know about Afenifere? All the Afenifere you are talking of, they're breakaways. I call them rebels, including the one of Ayo Adebanjo. What are you talking about? Where are you? They are under me. They are all fake people. They still want to use the reputation, the antecedent, the achievement of Afenifere with their rotting government they are all going on. It was Afenifere that put Tinubu into office. He has not denied that. The moment was going off Afenifere program, he said no. And because he was in a position to distribute like yes, all the people should have supported the leaders of Afenifere at that time when we think, and we stay put. And see where we are. That is what is still happening. Why are they scrambled down? Is APC one? Is even Tinubu Group one? Where are the Bodilon boys before? Are they one together? You see, what brought them together is food. Crumbs from the table. You should ask yourself. I have been in Afenifere with our law for the past 60-something years. Why am I still there? Have you ever had this changing from one party to the other? There's an ideology. Afenifere is a name for action group. It is not a cultural or something. It's a political party with definite political ideology which separates us from other parties since 1951.
So these are my worries, sir. Now that we have drifted away from ideological politics.
Why should we? You are assuming that the wrong way we have drifted should be the thing. That's why we are in trouble.
I said, now that has happened, how do we return? Because I remember when AD stood for contested elections in 1999, it was Afenifere's manifesto that was adopted wholesale. But today, it's completely different. How do we return to ideological-based politics rather than this cash and carry commercial?
My dear, the question and the answer. When you asked me before, I said, nothing doing in this country until you go to change this constitution to federalism. Everything is based on it. This question you ask me now all flowed back to foundation. And I've been saying it everywhere. I will repeat it. Set up 20 times economic committee, Bismarck and all the experts. They are a failure ab initio. if the foundation is not laid.
Yes,
How do you talk of the federal government in charge of agriculture? Where is the federal government land? When we talk of free education, free medical services that Shifaulo did, he was able to do it because of the autonomy he had. Even when the federal government was not doing anything, we are doing it. Even labor. It was Shifaulo that started minimum wage first time in this country. 5 shillings minimum wage was started by Shifaulo. Others started it that you are having now because labor was concurrent. These are all parts under the Constitution. And it is those of us who know the implication of this that we are emphasizing, change the Constitution. And I repeat, the thing this country needs now is a change of this Constitution to federalism. Until you do it, you are beating about the bush.
Sir, I was privileged to have read your autobiography, telling it as it is. And shortly after that book came out, there was some controversy with Chief Olusegun Oshoba protesting that you misrepresented him and he was going to reply you. And he has since done so in his own autobiography, which is also out there now. And in one interview, he said, well, you know, you misrepresented him. And that in any case, you are a field marshal who is still fighting like an infantryman. That, you know, you are over 90, but you are still agitating like a man of 30. And that he will advise you to retire.
Why?
Well, you have no plans to retire.
You give up a fight when the end of the fight has been born. I should retire and I shouldn't be saying anything if Oshoba and others have continued the fight under which they came into office. I have no business to be in politics right now. Why? Where are my contemporaries? But I feel sad. That's why you ask me now that I'm living now. It's a grace of God. I have no right to be around. Where are my colleagues? To see all this nonsense going on. When people are cheating or that people like Oshoba talking. You see, I don't like to bring things to be personal. These are the people we thought we carry on the fight. I say it openly now for you to answer. Is sovereign national conference not the condition under which he was elected, he and Tinubu and others? And what does sovereign national conference mean? Is it not the conference to restructure the country to federalism? And when we won the election, Baba as Adesoya led their very good to each of the assembly for them to pass a resolution for a sovereign national conference. It's on record of that period. Ask you what has happened.
Well, sir, we'll take another short break. When we come back, I'll ask you a follow-up question about the main issue between you and Chief Oshoba with regard to Chief Olusegun Obasanjo and the 2003 elections. We'll take a short break again, commercial break, and then we'll be right back. We'll still have here Chief Ayo Adebanjo, leader of Afenifere, or if an Afenifere leader.
A leader.
Don't give me
Not the leader.
Welcome back to the morning show here on the Arise News channel. Still with us in our Lagos studio is Chief Ayo Adebanjo, author, politician, lawyer, and Afenifere leader. Well, sir, I mean, I brought up the issue of the allegations against you by Chief Olusegun Oshoba in his book.
What's the allegation?
Yeah, the crux of the matter, if I understand it very well, is what exactly happened in 2003 when President Obasanjo reached out to Yoruba leaders for him to get a second term. And you were quoted as having said that Obasanjo had converted and he had become a supportable person, if I may use that phrase. And then, of course, you said no, it was some other people, including Chief Olusegun Oshoba, who backed up Chief Olusegun Obasanjo. What exactly happened for the benefit of persons who have heard you?
Unfortunately, I have deliberately refused to be in controversy with Segun Oshoba. Because if I have to describe him the way I now see him, it's too bad. You see, he had been misrepresenting that quotation, and I've been trying to correct it everywhere. Everybody knew that Robert Obasanjo didn't support the question of sovereign national conference and all this. And when he was going to have his third term, he sent a cajole the Ashoba group that he wanted their support, and he came to us. So, well, that why he approached them was because they were going to do primary before they elected him for the second time. And there was going to be local government election in the West at that time, which he knew he cannot win against their fellow candidates. And he wanted their support so that he could not be disqualified. So he approached us that what support can we give him for a second term? Our own position naturally was that, well, here is a Western man, a Yoruba man, seeking for a second term. Okay. When he approached us and said that he wanted the support, it was between him and Ashoba. It was Ashoba who brought the message. We said, well, no objection to him. All we want is for him to set up a sovereign national conference for unity. Please follow that background. So when he said Obasanjo wanted to see, I said, no objection. But these are the conditions under which we are going to give him support. Colonel Adebanjo is still alive. Senator Krom is still alive. Ourselves, Senator Adesoya, myself, and we refused to take any part in the discussion there. When we met there, it was Adebanjo who led the discussion. And we gave them the instruction that we support him, just if we make sure that he conducts a sovereign national conference for us to restore back to federalism. And when we got there, Obasanjo was very tactful. What he told us was, okay, that is a problem, but don't let us make it a Yoruba affair. Go and contact other regions. Let other regions also support you. This is where I said at the hotel, I said, Obasanjo has changed. He now give us the condition for this thing. This is what Ashoba is now exploiting to say I supported him. I'm a man of principle. I do everything on issue. And when I mentioned here that I once supported Buhari, people should have been wondering why you support him. It's not the question of this thing. We gave him a mandate that we are going to support you. But if we do research on it, well, we are for you. You are already in power. So he himself, who has been opposed to having a sovereign national conference, now giving us a condition that we should support. Go and tell other regions. The other people have mentioned, they are still alive. Ask them. Ask Ashoba himself. So when we go to the hotel, when we reviewing all the concerns, what a change in this man. So he now believes we can do it. Or before then, he had been dismissing it off record. If he now says, oh, no, don't make it a Yoruba affair. Get other regions to support you. To me, that's a change of mind. And ask him if that is not what happened. And when he started to do his gerrymandering now to exploit my good news, he supported. He said, don't let me describe Ashoba, because I've seen him all along enough now that, well, his colleague won't like him as described him the way I know him.
Can I take you back to your support of President Buhari over former President Goodluck Jonathan? Why did you make that decision when Goodluck Jonathan apparently at the time was in support of restructuring as well? Why did you choose Buhari? No,
I supported Buhari in the Jonathan was, at that time, no. It was, Buhari was no, it was, when I supported it was Yar'Adua. It was Yar'Adua, Atiku, and Buhari.
Okay.
2007.
There was no talk of restructuring from PDP then?
No,
because
no.
under the Jonathan government,
there
was...
That's why I'm happy. I supported Jonathan, and I said, oh, you are supporting a corrupt man. I said, well, let me alone. If the corrupt man can do the fundamental, the problem will be solved. And the critics also accused me of saying, what's wrong? He was there when he did the recommendation. Why didn't he implement it? They have forgotten the circumstances leading to his, at the end of Jonathan's admission. And then I said, well, I won't argue that with you. He didn't do it. But he now says, I will do it if you give me a second chance. The other candidate says, I won't touch it. I take the lesser of two evils. No more, not less. Even those my admirers who believe, oh, don't support Jonathan. Even people even said they have given me plenty of money. Only my children were telling them they don't see the evidence of the money they have given me. Besides my house in Lekki and all that. But it doesn't bother me. I've been used to that type of thing pre-independence.
Besides, you've been in politics for more than 6 decades.
More than
6 decades.
Yes.
More than 60 years. And you have not, I don't know whether you've been running for elections. I can't see the evidence.
I've never.
You have not held government positions.
No.
And yet you have been involved in the politics from pre-independence to independence till date. What is the motivation? What are you looking for?
Thank you very much. You see, the aspirants these days go into politics, they want to get something. What we were doing politics of issues at that time. Many people are surprised that I was a song seekist before I became an Aoist. Pre-independent, it was Azikwe that enlightened all of us. I was an avid reader of the West African Pilot, an avid reader of the column of Dr. Azikwe, Between Ourselves. And but that is the Magnus Williams, Inside Story by Zik. You should do that research. Any political young man. I mean, when I was then at school, I was at the grammar school, Bishop Kale was our principal. We say, you people are following from this politician will disappoint you. I was in primary 5 when I was buying West African Pilot. It was a copy of my paper that my class teacher will read because I take my own at home. And you surprise the class teacher when I'm at school at 9 or 10. When I get to the school, say, Adebanjo, where's your paper? We are becoming that one since then. Dr. Azikwe inspired us. But why did I change? When Chief Aolo now came in with the principle of federalism, telling us why that in a country like this, with various ethnic nationalities, religious differences, cultural differences, and all that, I became a convert. That was all that changed me. That principle, if you have to live together, until we have federalism, then we can develop at our own space. There will be no conflict. There will be no anything. That is all right. And that was what changed Azikwe himself in 1953. See, Baba, you are a journalist. I'd like you to do this research. I've been saying it. In 1953, go and look for the Daily Times of that time. I know 1954, 1954, on the return of the London Constitutional Conference. It was at the airport that Dr. Azikwe declared for, saying federalism is imperative. It was on the front page of the Daily Times. Go and look for it. Before then, it was a unitarist. It was the discussion and the argument of Chief Aolo at that London Constitutional Conference under Los Chandos that converted him. And every supporter of Dr. Azikwe, including Koda Balogun, Makwe, they came back with Ware's constitution of federalism. That is to show you this thing developed. And each time we talk about it, one professor yesterday with me on the program said, we talk about federalism as if it will solve all the problems we had. When I talk of going back to independent constitution, I don't say we should go back to 3 regions. The contents of that constitution could be 3 agreed upon, but it will be a central government creation, which is what we have. You see, people who say they are politicians, they deliberately confuse political discussion to their own self-interest. They know the interest. like anybody tries to Buhari now to deal with his Mesiana. The man is a cattle rearer himself. And you ask him to deal with his organization. And a clear example of that is when we talk about this, it is no hatred for him. It is the action he does. Fulani Hansmen killed people in Makurdi. They did their work in southern Kaduna. 800 people were killed at Christmas Eve. Where this VP was sent there. This following day, the whole thing happened.
Well, sir, we have to draw the curtain on this interaction.
Oh, no.
At this point, I'm sure if we continue for another 1 hour, there will still be a lot more to talk about.
It's a lot to remember members of the public. Yes. There's a lot of miseducation, misconception due to mischief.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
At this
Thank you
point,
for joining
we'll
us.
have to go to the
on
next
a short
segment.
break, yeah.